Alternatives to cobalt in electric vehicles. Cobalt plays a crucial role in today's society due to its widespread use in the manufacturing of lithium-ion rechargeable batteries. These batteries power a wide range of devices we rely on every day, including smartphones, computers, and especially electric vehicles. Cobalt lithium-ion batteries offer a high energy density, allowing for long ranges for electric vehicles. Combine this with its overall safety from combustion, cobalt lithium-ion batteries are often the ideal choice for electrical vehicles manufacturers. Cobalt's indispensability in such essential technologies highlights the significance of cobalt in our modern lives. However, the dark side of cobalt's production reveals a disturbing reality reminiscent of the degrading conditions witnessed in the Middle Ages. The vast majority of cobalt in the world is mined in the Congo at around 70%, but unfortunately, most of it is done under horrific conditions. The Congo's cobalt mining industry is broken down into two distinct sectors: industrial mining and artisanal mining. Industrial mining is with heavy machinery and uses more complex mining processes. Industrial mining is often seen as the more ethical method of mining. However, in the Congo, the vast majority of mining is done through artisanal mining. Artisanal mining is done by hand and pickaxe. It's done by men, women, and children, and is estimated to pay somewhere around $2 a day. Cobalt is an extremely toxic substance, posing significant health risks when touched or inhaled. Shockingly, women and children, who are among the most vulnerable to these toxins, are first forced to endure hours of exposure to cobalt on a daily basis. As if the dire circumstances weren't enough, these communities face further devastation as villages are bulldozed, leaving mining as their sole option for survival. This cruel exploitation transforms these individuals into modern-day slaves, trapped in a cycle where mining cobalt is their only means for survival. Parents are forced to make heart-wrenching decisions between sending their children to treacherous mines or condemning them to starvation. The desperate reality faced by these families is unimaginable. Tragically, the dangers associated with cobalt mining extend beyond the everyday hardships endured by the workers. The precarious nature of the mining process itself, with pit walls and tunnels prone to collapse, has claimed the lives of thousands of individuals. These tragic accidents are a grim reminder of the inherent risks faced by those who toil to extract this valuable mineral from the earth. Given the dire circumstances in which cobalt is sourced, the question arises: is there any ethical way to obtain cobalt from the Congo? Regrettably, the answer seems to be a resounding no. The exploitation and suffering that define the cobalt mining in the region have created a complex web of challenges that cannot easily be untangled. The supply chain of cobalt is so complex and multifaceted that it is nearly impossible to source cobalt using 100% industrial ethical mining. Efforts to establish this ethical and sustainable cobalt sourcing mechanisms have fallen short, leaving a gaping moral dilemma that demands urgent attention. In order to rid cobalt from batteries, we must first understand how lithium-ion batteries work. A lithium-ion battery consists of an anode, a cathode, a separator, electrolyte, and positive and negative current collectors. The positive and negative current collectors are labeled with a positive and a negative sign. The electrolyte is a liquid or gel that conducts electricity, and I'll talk more about the anode and cathode later on. The anode terminal acts as a source of lithium ions. The electrolyte carries positively charged lithium ions from the anode to the cathode, and vice versa through the separator. The movement of lithium ions creates free electrons in the anode, and as a result, electrons will flow through an external circuit to the cathode, through the positive terminal, and accordingly, a current will flow from the positive terminal to the negative terminal when an electric load is connected across the battery. In order to charge the battery, basically the exact opposite process takes place. Basically, to simplify this down, in a battery, the anode releases lithium ions to the cathode, generating a flow of electrons that help to power the relevant device. When a battery is being charged, the opposite occurs. Lithium ions are released by the cathode and received by the anode, effectively charging the battery. The cathode terminal in the battery must be manufactured in such a way that it can release vast amounts of lithium ions during the battery operation. Often, cobalt is used in this cathode. However, we discussed it is unethical to use cobalt. Changing the chemical compound for the cathode creates different kinds of lithium-ion batteries. The chemistry of the cathode can affect the energy density, voltage, and safety of the battery. There are many different batteries that are better off for some applications and worse off for others. For electric vehicles, lithium iron phosphate batteries have showed promise to potentially replace the cobalt batteries in electric vehicles. Lithium iron phosphate batteries are a variation of lithium-ion batteries. The iron phosphate form the cathode, rather than manganese, nickel, and cobalt, which are commonly used in batteries. In the cathode, ions form grids where the lithium ions are loosely trapped. As the battery is getting charged, these lithium ions get pulled through the membrane and reach a negative graphite electrode that can trap and hold these crossover lithium ions. The membrane is made of a polymer that has a lot of tiny little pores to make it easy for the lithium ions to pass through. The battery will be fully charged when all the positive lithium ions available in the cathode terminal reach the anode terminal and are stored between the layers of graphene. When the battery is being used, the opposite process takes place. There are many different pros and cons to using lead iron phosphate batteries. First off, let's go over the cons. Firstly, it has a lower energy density than typical cobalt lithium-ion batteries, meaning that for a lithium-ion battery, lithium-iron phosphate battery of the same size and weight as a cobalt lithium-ion battery, it has less total power output. This means the electrical vehicle would have around a 30% smaller range if it used a lead iron phosphate battery. In addition, lead iron phosphate batteries reportedly take a much longer time to charge at temperatures below freezing. Engineers are attempting to address this issue by managing the battery's thermal system, but it has proven difficult in northern countries like Canada that are in a consistently cold climate. Now, for the many pros. First off, iron is much more readily available than either nickel or cobalt, which are primary materials in typical car batteries. And its sources of supply are less geopolitically sensitive and ethical, which results in both more stable supply lines and significant cost savings. It is estimated that it could be as much as 30 to 40% cheaper. Another pro is that lead iron phosphate batteries themselves are also more thermally stable, with a thermal runaway temperature of 270 degrees Celsius compared to the 210 degrees Celsius for many cobalt batteries. That difference makes a big difference with respect to heat management requirements for the battery in a car. The batteries is far less likely to combust, making it extremely safe for cars. Also, the battery can withstand greater depths of discharge of around 80 to 90% of total capacity, and higher charge and discharge rates and thousands of charge and discharge cycles, significantly more than cobalt batteries, can take place with minimal degradation. This means that cars can be charged a lot faster when using lead iron phosphate batteries, and that the batteries have a longer life cycle, meaning the car's lifetime would be much longer than a cobalt battery, improving sustainability in the sense of waste. Plus, the materials in lead iron phosphate batteries are far less toxic than the nickel, manganese, and cobalt found in the cobalt lithium-ion batteries, making them far easier to recycle at the end of their life and be made into more batteries. Let's take a look into the economic incentives of using lead iron phosphate batteries. Cobalt is one of the most expensive parts of a battery. The cobalt alone in an electric vehicle battery is estimated to cost around $800. In order to make electric vehicles more accessible to the entire population, we need to figure out how to reduce this cost. It is estimated that lithium iron phosphate batteries are 30% cheaper than other batteries used in electric vehicles, with the average electric vehicle battery costing more than $10,000. Using lithium iron phosphate, batteries can save $3,000 per car. If even a fraction of the money saved on batteries was invested into building car charging stations, the lower range of these lead iron phosphate electric vehicles would not matter, especially since the lead iron phosphate batteries charge faster, too. Lead iron phosphate batteries are only getting better and are a much superior alternative to both sustainability and ethically wise than the cobalt battery. If we use less cobalt batteries, then demand for cobalt in the Congo will fall, meaning that many of the artisanal mines would be forced to close, taking power away from the unethical mine owners and forcing the modern-day slavery on the Congolese people. We should also use these batteries for environmental reasons. Electrical vehicles' batteries will last longer, meaning less waste, and the batteries will be more easily recycled. The cheaper batteries will also improve the accessibility to electric vehicles. If more people are able to afford electric vehicles, more people will be able to buy them, and the greenhouse emissions from cars will decrease. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something.